Okay guys, let's go. The train station's up ahead. What the fuck?
An open business in the middle of a war.
Maybe something.
Holy shit! What the hell, bro? What the fuck?
Hi, I wish I better than this dude. Do you have working eyes? In the case you do, you may have seen people wear different types of clothes that cover and hide parts of one's body. Citizens in Half-Life 2 are no strangers to clothes, and this video is going to prove that. This will be an in-depth look into the models of Half-Life 2 citizens, refugees, medics, and rebels, as well as their beta versions. Move your browser to your second monitor, cause this is about to get real interesting. But before we start, join my Discord server. Thanks. The lowest tier of the Half-Life 2 food chain, citizens. These depressed, sad people come in 9 different models for males and 6 for females, each representing a different race, proving that City 17 is a modern-day Tower of Babel, by the fact it's the last living urban center, and the other leftover citizens from other cities in other countries or other continents were transported to, well, City 17. But, well, that doesn't matter since all of them use the same voice actor. The drip, right? Citizens wear the finest thick, comfy and warm combined sponsored clothing, which definitely does not look like prisoner clothing. A darkish blue or oceanic denim shirt with buttons and a collar, which, like previously mentioned, looks really thick for a denim shirt. There's also a white patch on the upper chest, which I originally thought it could be the citizen serial number or something like that, but well, there's nothing written on it. Under the rather complex shirt, there's some kind of thick white shit. I guess that's to add some extra warmth to one's torso. How nice of you, Mr. John Combine. They were similarly colored but slightly darker jeans that don't have pockets. The jeans get really baggy at the bottom, which makes them nicely overhang the really nice brown lace shoes. And that's how the citizen presents himself. Copy his fit. A fun fact I guarantee you didn't know is similar to how half of the refugees got yellow shirts and the other half has blue shirts, is that the citizens' halves only differ with the shirt shift. If you know what I mean. Crazy shit! The faction above the citizens are the refugees. Depressed, sad people who get more depressed and sad by living outside the city's borders. These people look all beat up and old or unshaved, either have their citizens' clothes dirty, or just have a different shirt. Which proves there are other shirts in this universe! There's half of the blue guys and half of the yellowish guys. First, the blue guys. The only difference between them is the dirtiness and scratches. Nothing else. The yellowish guys. The two are bloody and dirty, not scratched though. Their yellow shirts are the blue denim shirt but creamy yellow or skin colored. The only difference being that there are less buttons and the ends of their sleeves and collar are green, whilst the undershirt is a different green. But that's only for the males, because females have their entire shit in the same color, besides the undershirt. I'm assuming that the idea behind these light shirt citizens comes from the 2003 version of the outfits, which we'll get to in a while. That too features the light shirts. The rebels are the big boys of the bunch, still rocking their unshaved old look or shaved still old look. Depends on the model. They can surprisingly first be seen in the Water Hazard chapter, even though the refugees are still present even further from City 17. You know, the dock station where you get the buggy. I guess the resistance has a hard time supplying their own members. They wear a vest with a neck collar, and 2 straps / belts around their stomach, with the bottom one also having a pager, which, funnily enough, are all stolen from the Metrocops. On their backs there are 3 bags, well, one of which is held by a sling, which can be seen from the front. This bag in particular looks close to the waist bags of the Combine soldiers. Logical reusement. Just like the refugees, the first half has blue clothing and the second one has green. But first, the blue. They were almost the same Combine-sponsored blue shirt as the citizens, but slightly lighter. The greens, or the green shirts, are like if you took the yellow shirts, but made them the same green as the undershirt. And also made the end of the sleeves darker. Only for the males though, because the females just have sewing lines where the darker parts would be. The male models have, I guess, a metal armband with a lambda painted on it, proudly placed on the left arm. Females though, they have the same thing on both of the arms. The hands is where it gets bizarre. It's random which model has gloves, fingerless gloves, or just doesn't have gloves at all. Here's a chart of what model has what gloves. I'd like to point out male 09, the last guy from this list, which even though it's white, uses the black skin colored fingerless gloves texture that male 01 uses. This is pretty much what Uncle Ruckus got in Boondocks. Or he claims.
This can't be.
The beanies are pretty much the same. Again, here's a chart of who has what. The genes of the rebels have a lot more wear on them than the citizen or refugee versions do. Duh. Males have protectors on both of the thighs, whilst the females don't. The bottoms of the pants are nicely tucked in into their boots, which seem to be different from the citizen ones, looking more like the good old US Army shoes, protecting them all the way up to their ankles. One thing I'd like to add is the fact that the combined soldiers have similar boots, but in black. Reusement once again. Fun fact, in Raising the Bar, an official book about the Half-Life 2's development, there's an image showing an earlier render of the rebel models, in which they use the yellow refugee shirts instead of the green shirts. I guess you can say the yellow to green shirt change was done to make the rebels more distinct from all the other model groups, maybe? Valve really wanted to confirm the existence of over 6 different shirts in this universe. The 2 more being the medics. They appear with slightly changed head textures of the citizens, meaning they actually take care of themselves. I guess that fits. With, fun fact, the exception of Male 05, who still uses the rebel face texture, since his medic face texture isn't in retail. The vest is still present, but the sling is replaced by a backpack-like sling, and all the bags are replaced with a big medical bag, which is probably the infinite source of the medic's medkits. The 2 belt straps, or strap belts, are replaced with a big 100% shoulder bap that has these 2 small pouches. The front one of which is not present in the female models. On both of the arms they got red crosses on white armbands, quite clearly taking shots at the Red Cross organization. Similarly to the rebels, each model can decide if they want to wear gloves or not, which should be mandatory since I don't think you would want to touch untested blood with bare hands. You know, you never know if the person you're helping has HIV or really any bloodborne disease. Even the Payday gang knows about this. Just like the rebels, half of the medics have white shirts, whereas the other half has bluish white shirts. Cyan, I think, is the word I'm looking for. White shirts have darker bottom sleeves, whilst cyan shirts just have sew lines. And of course, in the female versions of the white shirt, there are no darker parts at the bottom of the sleeves. The pants are the same wear the jeans as the rebels, but grey, and they're the same for each model. And also the pants got the same baggy overhang as the citizens and refugees. And that marks the in-depth look into the retail drip. How funny. Before we get into the beta stuff, I'd like to point out some Misc things. First of all, head grabs are genetically built to only latch onto the white shirt refugees. Half-Life 1 confirms that. A common thing you might see in Rebel fan content is them wearing combined soldier armor. Why didn't Valve implement this? They even got rebels with soldier armor in the concept art. Well, the most logical answer is Valve didn't have much time. They were changing drip designs left and right, days before release. Having variety is the last thing you'd care about. But from a lore reason, we can see the common soldiers sometimes strip down just to the pants, which makes me think that the rest of the armor is welded to them or something. In a moment of such hurry that is the appraising in CD17, you'd rather just pick up a vest from a Metrocop instead of a combined soldier. Still, it would make sense for there to be rebels with soldier armor in episode 2 at the very least. Valve. Speaking of the vest, does it exist in real life? Was this specific vest introduced to our timeline with Metrocops, or is it modeled after a vest from our universe, like the real life? If you've got some ancient info about the very existence of it, then let me know in the comments. Also, as it appears, the females have a lot in common with the canals and coast chapter maps. By that I mean they have missing maps, or in this case, models. With that being female 05, we just get skipped over to female 06. Funnily enough, we do have the textures for the cult females, but we'll talk about it in whatever time is shown on the screen. And also, The last off-topic thing is the bizarre case of female 03, or Kim. Her refugee model has a pink headband durag thing on her head, which is weird since refugees don't get any new hats. Well, she's the exception. The thing is also present on her medic model. This time, it's blue! Truly bizarre. Citizens before retail had over 9 different finished fits. Buckle up, cause I wanna run through them fast. Just keep in mind that this info was taken straight from the Half-Life Wiki, Valve Content Wiki, and this Reddit post. Thanks, Wolfclock. First, I'd like to mention the face textures of beta citizens, as they're all just fucking cursed. For example, Male 4, which has some hair, and Male 1, who looks a lot more Arabic than just black. But what we are more interested about is all the males and females that actually didn't make into the retail. As you might have noticed, there's 9 males, but only 6 females. The answer can be found in the beta, where you can find 3 unused face sheets for Laura, Linda, and Tam. Here's them recreated by Banty and Game Banana. But the males are no different, as they too had Trev and Andrew, the official high-quality Cheaple. Cheaple? Here's the mermaid again. If all of them made into the game, there still would be less women than men, a 9-to-11 ratio. Right. There's also an earlier render of Male 9, Erden, which instead is called Erdim? With an M? What the fuck? Starting with the Gasmask Citizen, the earliest citizen mod born somewhere in 2000. This forsaken fella rocked a full-body green hazmat with a hood, a dark green apron and a gas mask. They wear a red identity badge on the right arm, which really squeezes it. On their hands they got these nice leather gloves, these a bit darker than the torso hazmat pants and some black boots, looking well fit for the modern day. Somewhere still in the era of Skybr's concept arts, there's 2 pieces of concept art for a combined gate and a citizen's cells. This orange jumpsuit guy with maybe a beanie on him. Wiki states he looks like he's wearing a US prisoner jumpsuit. Oh well, that's a boomerang. But they say he looks more like Odell, the beta version of Odessa Coverage. I would explain his fit, but he isn't a citizen! Similar to the previous one, there's the temp female version. A green jumpsuit with temp written on the front of the waist. I wonder what could it mean. This is pretty much the only citizen drip texture made for the females that survived. Not the faces, drip. But they all were just deleted before they could even leak. Do you know about that? Even Alex's face is present on the texture, to be traced over or whatever. Also, should the tits and ass be specified out like that? I don't like this. Scared. Entering mid-2001, Wasteland version, or Samuel version, has a bright brown colored coated jacket that is locked by something that looks like those magnetic buttons, and has a collar. The jacket has 2 pockets, the left one is bigger, but as a compensation, the right one has a grey tag. The jacket's arms are a bit darker the lower they go, and similarly to the Gasmask Citizen, they got a very squeezy identity band on their left arm. Their pants are smooth, grey-yellow colored, and have a darker patch on the right knee. And lastly, they got very nice pitch black shoes. Very nice times 2! Fun fact. It is theorized that this is pretty much the first citizen model we got after the Gasmask Citizens, and also Male 5, aka Art, or aka Samuel, was the only citizen to ever have this outfit on. Most likely it was because Samuel was meant to originally be some kind of standalone character, like Eli or Barney, but well. The good old Cheaple got a lot more attention in the beta. One of the uses for him was in Stonegrapher's Chasm. It was a place you'd visit whilst going around City 17 before the Combine catch up to Gordon. It was this big hallway with various pistons and machinery around, and more importantly, random cheaples writing their ass off on these desks high above the ground. Cool as fuck. The writers would wear these blue shirts with this comfy looking neck wrap. Underneath their sleeves there's more of this comfy clothing. On their back there's a proud City 17 insignia, and their pants are somewhat lighter than the shirt. Wow! Lastly, their shoes are comparable to those of Half-Life 1 NPCs. The orange color version appeared in late 2001. They had this green, clearly waterproof jacket that had an orange color, hence the name. Oh, believe it or not. The sleeves seem to be raised up a bit, and whoever these hands are so goddamn pale! Go get some sun! For whatever reason, the jacket drops a lot of shadow on the pants, which is not prominent in any other version. I like to think that the citizens just piss themselves with tar. They have these green yellowish loose pants and have this pair of nice shoes. In 2002, the citizens had the blue jacket version. Initiation, drip, yeah. They use the same fat model, but just retextured with a different outfit. That being that the jacket is now a dark blue, is locked by a zipper, has this combine insignia on the back, and then underneath there's another darker shade. On their hands, they got full gloves. Good job! Their brown pants don't have tar no more, have pockets and nicely detailed shadows. And finally, they have black boots. Fun fact! The black zombies from the beta actually have this shirt on. There's no insignia on the back though. Also, here's an earlier version of the back of it. Mid-2002 gave us the green jacket version. Still the same shit, with the exception of, well, the shirt being green. A different insignia on the back, the dirtiness and blood. And the pants are more saturated. Fun fact, going back to the females, this is the first troop we got evidence of female models for, as evidenced in one of the leaked screenshots. Now, around the time before the plot rewrite, that being the dark and gritty New York streets and bad gas, as the lyrics and shit, the equivalent of the rebels were the Conscripts. These may be helmet-wearing, all-green military fatigues with two-pant pockets, fabric ring gloves, big boots, and personal armor system for ground troops, vest-wearing, combined backstabbing motherfuckers, acted like man-children and were commanded by Captain Vance, the father of Alex Vance, not to be confused with Eli Maxwell. I think Valve nailed the generic military conscript outfit with these big dogs very well. One thing I wondered though, was the whole hierarchy of resistance just citizens with guns, and conscripts during the beta? Was there an idea for normal citizens with vests and shit, just like the rebels? Fun fact, as at the PS, there are over 3 models depicting male too, or in this case, Manwich, and surprisingly, each model has its own version of male 2's face, which never mind. Around the same time as the previous one, there were 2 finished citizen groups wearing these full-body suits. The green yellowish ones are called workers, whereas the bluish guys are Borealis workers. Funnily enough, both have combined logos with orange backgrounds on the back, which, fun fact, in the earlier version of both suits, they had the red insignias instead. Wow. Entering 2003, we have, in my opinion, the worst citizen drip so far, which funnily enough appeared in most of the public E3s and other beta content. The leak version, of course. They have a light yellow shirt, which, like previously mentioned, looks like the retail refugee shirt. The shirt has a collar, is tucked by god knows what, and has a combined insignia on the back. The red identity bands are back! This time, they aren't squeezy. Sad. The pants are this vomity green, yellow, grey color, and are made out of this thick fabric. And the shoes are this grey shit! One good thing I guess you can say about them is you can see the shift from normal everyday clothes to prisoner-like clothing when compared to the previous versions, really making the combine feel real. I mean, it still sucks though. These guys also got their first take at subgroups, such as white shirt medics with red crosses committing war crimes again, and an ammo supplier version with a slightly cyanide shirt and this big ass impact font saying AMMO! After the utter shite being the leak version, in early and mid-2004, Valve brought us, again, the best citizen drip EVER! Right after the absolute disaster that the leak version was, and of course, even better than the retail. The E3 2004 skinny blue shirt or straight jacket version, which the latter is straight up a lie since the fit hasn't seen an iron in ages! Shit's so thrilled up! Anyways, first off, the model. They're no longer fat and bulky like all the previous models, as they're now slim, and even slimmer than in retail. The ugly ass jackets have been replaced with this nice straight shirt, which color off is kind of the same as the rebel blue one. There's also this black and white C-17 patch just under the neck on both the chest and back. It's kind of similar to the Metrocop vest white patch, but that doesn't have any writing. Going back, literally, has these 5 badly aligned straps that go from top to bottom. Reminds me a lot of safety jackets from mental asylums. On the left arm, they have a greenish fingerless glove made out of fabric, while his right one is just an empty pale white hand. Also, as evidenced by the texture sheet, there's no black skin colored glove, so it's safe to say that black citizens would not have been given any gloves. How shady. Going deeper, we got the pants. They're just black jeans with 2 pockets on the sides, and 2 more on the back. Lastly, they got these greenish shoes with a piece of blue on the back. Fun fact! This is the version that the citizens from the Raising the Bar Dogs mod are based off. This is where it gets messy now. You see, our beloved Corpso 1 model, the model that has its face taken from a real medical book, rocks the E3 2004 clothing. Yes, in retail!
Hey, you should check out Tim Sauceman for more shit that Valve forgot to change in retail from the beta. Hold on.
And surprisingly, there are differences. First, the pants are grey, not black. Same goes with the shoes. They're black. And the back of the shoe is grey too. And now for the big thing, the CT17 logo on the back is orange, not white. Now in a lot of fan-made remakes or remasters of this version, you can see the citizens have orange logos on both sides. I say that's total bullshit. You see, there is a lot of old dried and synced blood around the logo in the corpse's model, which logically speaking would make a piece of white clothing have an orangish color, especially if it's synced in water, like the first time we see it.
Hey, even Eminem rapped about that.
Also, here's the Corpso 1's model with the original drip texture applied. And here's Mail 7 with Corpso 1 version. Fun fact, in Corpso 1 texture sheet, you can still find the other hand textures.
Also,
this promo art of a blue-eyed Metrocop has citizens in the background. Can you guess what they were? Right, the 3 gloves and pants! Which, well, seem to be a bit more bluish, and just like in retail. And they got the retail shits, kind of, since they still have the swirled up shoulders, just like in the E3 2004 version, and the backs are very cheaply cleared of the safety jacket. I love hybrids. Lastly, as shown on the screen earlier, Male 6 wasn't a part of the original crew of males, as he didn't leak with them. He actually came out with, according to Valve Content Wiki, a Valve releasing SDK example model source. Meaning, he's the only pre-release citizen model to officially release outside of the leaks. Official release of fucking beta content. That's something truly rare for Valve.
and after that, retail came.
And also half of Alex came, which nullifies most of the info from this video. Amazing times 3. Now that you know every single fucking detail of every citizen drip outfit of all the shit, you can now sleep peacefully. As the last, final fun fact of this video, 2 of my friends, Kishel and Burn, counted every single instance of every citizen model in the entirety of Half-Life 2, except for episodes. Good job! If you are thrilled with such information, you can check out the whole sheet in the first link of the description. I want to spend the rest of the vid talking about the history of this fucking video. If you don't care, here's the timestamp. You see, once in the summer last year, I got this idea to do a Rebel cosplay, the results of which you can see here. Researching the entire Rebel outfit gave me another idea to pass all of this information into a vid. So with me getting my PC back after technical misjudgments, I started working on it in September and October, as a hopefully October-November upload. I keep in mind I roughly upload every month, but well, the production was rough as well. Instead of reading the scripts for the video at least a single time before I record it, like I always do, I raw dogged them, resulting in some fucking crazy ass crash outs. One of the uprising incident. I'll be like, bro, I sound like Sheckley from episode 2, which led to my motivation draining completely out. I just couldn't bring myself to work on it. Luckily, in that truly depressing time, I discovered how bizarre D3C1708 is, which if you know this channel, may recognize that name as one of my most ambitious projects so far. Ironically enough, originally it was meant to be a small-sized video as a temporary replacement for the Citizen Drip video, which then I would work on again after the bizarre map vid, since that injected me with new motivation. Well, I luckily did drop Bizarre Map in November on Half-Life 2's 20th anniversary, but Citizen Drip, I guess it had to wait till July next fucking year. I've also talked about Citizen Drip being the next video in the Mayo 4 evolution, which, yeah, it was a complete lie. Fuck, I'm sorry. But hey, here we are. Also, even more ironically again, an idea of a bizarre map follow-up video popped up in my head during the editing process of this vid between May and June. But I didn't let it this time. Also, if you're interested, on my second channel, 𝘴𝘵𝘺𝘺, you can find the old draft of the Citizen Drip. Shit yourself! Yeah, I would like to thank 𝘴𝘺𝘺 for making this cool graphic about almost every Citizen outfit before retail. One epic player for information about the E3 2004 version, and an epic gamer man for Misc information. Burn, Mickey, Christopher, and Frike for acting in the intro. Burn again, and Kishel making counting, what the fuck? Counting every citizen. Other wiki involved content wiki for the win info. Everyone who were waiting for this fuck ass video. Fucking never, brother, it's never coming. Northern people, why are you green, brother? What the fuck? These people for boosting my server, and you for watching.